You can't stop communicating. We're all communicating all the time. I think you should be wearing a seatbelt right now.
Don't worry. This is just a cartoon. The steering wheel isn't even attached to anything.
I know. I'm just worried about the message that we're sending to everybody out there. Even in a fun party like this, we're all communicating with each other, even if we're not talking with each other. Even from across the room, we see each other. We see our clothes. We see our body language. We're communicating.
Why do you keep telling me that I am always communicating no matter what I'm doing?
I'm glad you asked. Welcome to the communication zone. Ooh. All right, it's not actually this scary. All communications is the transferring of information from one person to another. And we are always transferring information just like we are always receiving information. Now that we've defined communications, let's think about interpersonal communications. And what we're going to think of interpersonal communications as is the transfer of information between two or more people in the context of a relationship. So to be interpersonal communications, there has to be a relationship.
Would you just shut up and start communicating?
I'm communicating for all I got. Understanding the type of relationship we're in interpersonal communications can help us to tailor our communications and to grow and improve that relationship.
Do not be concerned, anonymous patient. This will only hurt when you laugh and perhaps when you breathe.
That is exactly what I'm worried about. So now that we've defined interpersonal communication, let's talk a little bit about some principles of interpersonal communication. The first is, and I said it right off the bat, you can't stop communicating. It just happens. Right? The second is, all interpersonal communication is irreversible. Once you said something, you can say, I'm sorry, you can say, I didn't mean it, but the words are still out there in the air. People construct meanings in interpersonal communication. My perception helps me decide what you are telling me. And then the way you say something affects how I understand what you said. Now, this information can be put together to help us realize that interpersonal communication helps us to develop and sustain our relationships. It's important to remember that interpersonal communication effectiveness can be learned. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're learning how to be more effective communicators. There you are. I've just been floating around the airport waiting for you. Now, after all of this discussion about interpersonal communication, you can see that it's a really important part of our life. The more we understand about how to effectively communicate with the people we have relationships with, the stronger and more fulfilling those relationships will be. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, you literally can't stop communicating. So don't even try to stop it. The best thing to do is learn to communicate more effectively. Just a little bit better every day goes a long way.